It's time for Dirt Daily. I am headed home from Moab, Utah, Easter Jeep Safari. But first, this episode is presented by onX Off-Road. onX Off-Road is a mapping app that you get and you put it on your telephone, and it has maps for off-road trails. In fact, I used this app a lot while I was out in Moab, Utah. And there are different levels of the mapping app that you can subscribe to. There's the basic app, and then there's the elite app. The elite app has more features on the app, and you also get discounts with other companies that are in the off-road industry. Plus, onX now has a new color-coded system that is based on how difficult the trails are. So if you are new to off-roading or an old hat, you could pick different levels of trails if you've never run them before. Or if you're new to off-roading and you just have zero concern for mechanical well-being and you're just like, I want to go run the hardest thing ever, you can use the app whether you're on the trail trying to find your way home, or if you're at home trying to plan your next adventure. So check it out, onX Off-Road, and use the link in the description below and you'll get a discount if you sign up. I'm headed home from Easter Jeep Safari. Easter Jeep Safari is like my favorite event of the year. It's beautiful out in this little town in southern Utah called Moab. I love going to this event. Some people don't like EJS, Easter Jeep Safari, because people come from all over America, and some of the trails are shut down on certain days because the event is actually put on by the Red Rock four-wheelers. So you can sign up and go on their official runs, and they permit certain trails that they will be running, and other trails you can run the whole time. So some people don't like going that week. I love going during EJS because I've been going for so many years and I see all my friends that I don't see all the time. They come from all over America. I got there about a week ago on a Saturday, and Sunday morning I headed out with the folks from Steer Smart. Steer Smart is a company from Michigan, and they make steering components for Jeeps as well as other vehicles. And you may remember my buddy Tony from Detroit. Tony had been on a couple Dirt Every Days. Well, he lives up in Canada and he actually works for Steer Smart now. And last year for SEMA, they built this cool concept out of a 4xe Jeep, and they turned it into an ice cream truck. So we went out on Sunday morning and we kind of crashed the trail ride that Warn put on. Warn is an iconic brand that has been in the off-road industry for over 75 years, from making hubs to winches. Well, every year they do a couple trail rides, and we took the Steer Smart ice cream truck out and kind of figured out where they were going to run their trail, and we got ahead of them and set it up to hand out ice cream, which is awesome on a trail. Other than the fact that on Sunday in Moab, it was snowing. It was like very cold, and then we were getting flurries. But the cool thing about when you're eating ice cream and it's cold out is it doesn't melt and run down your arm. And then on Monday, we met up with the folks that were going on the Skyjacker run. Skyjacker is a suspension company, and they are kind of an icon in the business. They have been doing suspensions for 50 years. So this was their 50th anniversary run, and that was exciting. We met up with them when they were leaving and checked out all the trucks before they headed out on the trail. And then Monday afternoon, there was actually a party at the Best Top booth. And Best Top has a bunch of different companies in the Best Top family, and they had kind of an open party at their booth. So we went to that Monday evening. Then on Tuesday, we headed out to see the brand new Jeep concepts. Every year, Jeep brings different concepts that they are kind of exciting, because like where some OEMs build a concept car and they just put it on display, Jeep brings them out and they're actually running, driving vehicles, and a lot of times they let members of the media get to drive them and test them out and shoot videos. And they didn't have as many as other years in the past when they would bring maybe 6 or 8. This year they only had 4, but I think my favorite one was the Lowdown. It was a 392 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, so it was a 4-door, but they had cleared off the rear door handles to kind of make it look like a long 2-door. And then they gave it sort of this race car theme. They deleted a lot of extraneous stuff like all the screens on the dash, and they put a cool clear panel on the hood so you could see the 392. But like the old lower 40 concept that they had done years ago, they put it on really big tires, this time 42s with zero lift. So they just cleared out body work and raised all the fenders to give it this low, beefy look. So I think that was the best one of the concepts. They also had a Jeep Grand Wagoneer with a rooftop tent, which I like the new Wagoneer. A lot of people don't really care for them. I think they're pretty cool, but I would like to see a Wagoneer on bigger tires. They, I think, had it on 35s. I'd like to see a Wagoneer built on like 37s. Maybe something different than an overlanding feel, like build a big Wagoneer that could actually run, maybe show up on like full-size Invasion or something like that. They also had two other concepts. One was a 4xe that was kind of a retro theme, and then they had this cool root beer brown Jeep Gladiator that was built by JPP, Jeep Performance Parts. Jeep Performance Parts is basically the Jeep side of Mopar, and if you don't know Mopar, they are the replacement parts and aftermarket parts that you would get at any dealership for Dodge, Ram, or Jeep. So Wednesday morning, I got up really early and I met up with Dave, Dirthead Dave, and we again met up with the folks from Steer Smart, and we went up to Hell's Revenge Trail. There's actually an overlook that has dinosaur tracks right near the start of Hell's Revenge. We met there pre-dawn, and then at 7:08 in the morning at dawn, we handed out free coffee and donuts. So it was coffee and donuts at dawn. We had a good group of Jeepers that showed up there, a bunch of kids. It's kind of cool to see everybody getting up early. And the reason we wanted to do it at dawn was because we knew lots of people would want to head out and go four-wheeling and run different trails. So it was kind of a cool get-together early in the morning. While we were there, actually, as we were running out of donuts, the folks from Best Top rolled up, and they were having their customer appreciation run. So Dave and I hopped in line. I was in noob sock, and Dave was in his mom's spaghetti truck. We did a little bit of wheeling with them and had a good time. Now, you may be asking, why did I bring noob sock this year instead of one of my other rigs? Well, in addition to doing these different trails and meeting up at different companies, I also was doing a huge project with Best Top. Best Top, just turning 70 years old, is giving away a 70-year-old 1954 Jeep CJ3B. And we're doing a whole video series on that. So I brought Noobsock, my JL Wrangler, along so that my camera guy would have a place to haul all his gear. And a lot of times I was in the 3B during the filming, so I wanted a vehicle I could just hand him the keys and he could lock up his gear and keep it out of the dust. So, and that Jeep, it just works so good out there. It's like everything's pretty well dialed on it. There's a few little things. I mean, there's always something that you need to do to your project Jeep, but there's only a few more little things that I want to get done to it. Though, I was pretty bummed that I didn't have a flat fender there, because on Friday is the big Friday flat fender fun run that a bunch of flat fenders go on every year. In fact, there were so many flat fenders in Moab this year, the early CJ2A, 3A, 3Bs, GPWs, MBs. There were so many of them running around Moab that I bet there were more flat fenders in Moab this year than there were CJ5s or CJ7s. I mean, there's tons of TJs and YJs and JKs and JLs, but the flat fender contingent is booming. They are so popular these days. But it was really cool to see all them off, though that was the day that I was like, man, I wish I had one of my flat fenders here. So I am now headed home to get back to my flat fender project that you guys have been watching on the channel. I'm really excited and kind of amped up now that I've seen all my friends to get home and get back to work on that. So once again, Moab was a great time. I hate leaving there. This year was a lot of running around doing filming and stuff, so I probably didn't see all my friends that I wanted to see, but I think that's the case every year. You go there, there's so many people there, you're trying to run trails and work on your vehicles and just have a good time. I always have a blast there seeing everybody, and I can't wait to get back to Moab. I really need to figure out how I can get back to Moab when it's not Easter Jeep Safari, so I can just go wheeling and goof off. But this was a great week. I had a great time and I got to see a bunch of my friends. If you've never been to Moab Easter Jeep Safari, it's the week that leads up to Easter every year. So that's the best time. There's a big trade show. There's a bunch of vendors all over town, and it's always one of my favorite events. It's different every year. This year was a very early Easter, which was why we probably had chillier weather. In fact, the weather out there this year was crazy. One day it was raining, the next day it was snowing, then it was sunny, then it was snowing again, it was cloudy, it was snowy, it was windy. It was everything that you could possibly imagine. So we had a great time in Moab. However, if you're not really into cold weather and you still want to come to Easter Jeep Safari some year, try to come a year when Easter's a little bit later in the year, and that'll probably result in more mild weather. Overall, it was a great week in Moab for Easter Jeep Safari. I love going out there. I really need to figure out how to get out to Moab more than just 1 week a year. I will definitely be back again next year for EJS. But if you're going out there and you've never been to Moab before, check out that OnX Off-Road app. It has maps of all types of trails all over the Moab area. And like I said, it ranks them on difficulty based on different colors. So check that out. All right, that about wraps it up. We'll see you guys next time.